Hello, divine creations, divine marvels, children of God. Thank you so much for dropping by this video. Before I hop into it, let's just take a moment and recognize, invite in truth, love, spirit, God. Yum, yum, yum. As soon as I just take a moment and pause, I feel the presence. Sometimes that's all it takes is a moment. Welcome to my live viewer. So, someone asked me a question I really am enjoying. Why do you believe that some people say they are hopeful Christian universalists rather than just saying they are Christian universalists? Interesting question. Of course, you'd have to ask each person what they mean, but I'm going to share a few thoughts. So first of all, Christian universalism is based on the idea of universal reconciliation. Universal reconciliation is the idea that it's inevitable that everyone, and maybe everything, but definitely everyone, will be saved, enlightened, reconciled to God. Christian universalism is the belief that universal reconciliation is going to happen through the work of Jesus Christ. And so some people say, oh, I believe in universal reconciliation. Some people say, I'm a Christian universalist. And some people say, I'm a hopeful Christian universalist. So what does this hopeful piece mean? Well, this is where I think, you're going to need to ask each person, because there could be a wide variety of meanings. A hopeful universalist, in my sense, is someone who believes that's true, but isn't exactly 100% sure, is hopeful that it's true, but isn't 100% sure. Or myself, I would never use that term because it's vague, but I think I'm a hopeful universalist in the sense that, yes, I believe it's true. I'm utterly intellectually convinced it's true. I trust that it's true with my heart. And it's like, until that day when everyone and everything is reconciled to God, until that glorious day, I don't know 100%. For me, that's what faith comes down to, is not knowing something to be 100%, yet trusting it. So, in essence, I kind of think everyone is really a hopeful universalist or Christian universalist, but that's kind of my understanding of the difference between faith and belief. Like, I don't have to have faith that the sun is going to rise tomorrow morning. I just know it is. I don't need to have faith that if I don't put out cat food for half a day and I put out cat food, my cat's going to go ballistic eating it up. Like, that's just something I know. And I don't have to have faith that, if I call my friend Sammy, that she's going to be gentle and kind. Like, these are just things that they're so true that I don't even give them a second thought, right? But, or I should say, and when talking about spiritual, religious, metaphysical things, people like to say, well, I know da 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 da. Personally, I find that to be very dishonest. Maybe not intentionally dishonest, but definitely dishonest. Matters of things of a religious, spiritual, or metaphysical nature always, unless you've experienced them directly, always entail a measure of faith, if not primarily faith. And faith isn't about knowing. In my view, faith is about trusting. Faith is about trusting something that you don't have direct evidence for, that you don't have proof for, right? So that's just kind of that's kind of how I see it. I think lastly, someone might say they're a hopeful Christian universalist as an expression of what Christian Universalism is. They could just say, I'm a hopefulist. Christian Universalism is sort of the ultimate hope, right? It's the ultimate good news, the ultimate. Well, let me backtrack. I would say universal reconciliation doesn't necessarily have to be connected to Christ, but that's a whole nother topic. But universal reconciliation, they could just say, I'm a hopefulist, or because it really it is the ultimate good news. I love that Jesus called his message the good news. It's the ultimate good news. You know, I have some concerns with the book A Course in Miracles, but I think it nailed what universal reconciliation is: the belief or trust that a happy outcome to all things is sure. It's one of the most powerful spiritual. I should make a whole video on that. It's one of the most powerful spiritual declarations that I've ever heard. A happy outcome to all things is sure. It's very beautiful. And so I sometimes wonder, you know, it gets me curious to ask, and maybe I'll start asking Christian Universalists what they mean. But part of it for me is it's just an expression of what it is, you know, that Christian Universalism is is hopefulness. You could also say, um, I'm I trust that God is good, completely good, all good, infinitely good. You could say a mercifulness, a belief in the goodness of Godness. It's quite radical if you really think about it. Universal reconciliation is the idea everything will be all right. And it's very radical. It's simple to intellectually say, "Oh, everything will be all right." But to really take that in, to really take that to heart, and I'm not saying I've taken it 100% to heart. I think maybe that's really the whole spiritual journey, is getting to the place where you're 100% heart, mind, body, and soul in a place of trust that everything will be all right. It's a very simple idea. Like, oh, everything will be all right. And it's easy maybe to think about, you know, like, let's say you're facing a challenging situation and be like, everything will be all right. It's like we can kind of grok that, like, okay, I'm going to make it through this and things are going to work out. But to take that and then to apply it to everything and everyone, like, let's just start with the planet Earth, much less the universe. And I love that it's called universalism, like everything. I'm going to look up. And anyway, I get excited and then I want to talk about 10 things at once. But let's just think about the planet Earth. Everything will be okay. Every problem will be solved. It's it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing to think every problem, every and you know, as I the further I go down the spiritual path, what I recognize is almost every problem that I experience is, you know, from the inside. You could say impurity or ego or evil or character defects, the places where I fall short. Um, all of those will be resolved. It's pretty mind blowing. Pretty mind blowing. Let's blow our minds some more. Let's look up the meaning of the word universal. Of, affecting, or done by all people or things in the world. or in a particular group, applicable to all cases. So in this context, universal would mean of, affecting, affecting all people or things in all of creation. And the universe is kind of big. Applicable to all cases. A person or thing having universal effect. That's pretty amazing. So I hope this video answered your question. I hope it touched some of you. Just thinking about these things really touches me deeply. It's just it's beyond our mind to even fathom a happy outcome to all things, is for sure. My mind was blown today. When my mind gets blown, my heart and soul gets opened. I hope that happened for some of you. Take care. Big love.